Good afternoon, guys. Hope you're doing well. Today's Sunday, April 26th. Wanted to come and give you a couple of quick announcements and have a short devotion. This will be our normal devotion. Of course, it'd be a little bit longer if we was meeting here on Sunday nights together. But our devotion, our mini message for today, very important announcements-wise that I want you to be aware of is this. Unfortunately, this would be Disciple Now Week. And so we'll be gearing up for Disciple Now this coming weekend. Of course, that's changed a bunch here in this coronavirus pandemic. So we are not having Disciple Now this weekend. That's a bummer. I want to also give you a quick update on where we stand with some of our summer activities as well. So for instance, if you were going to kids camp in June, Student Life along with Lifeway and Shockley Springs has canceled all of the activities they're doing camp-wise that they're in June. And so some locations, some camps are already canceling or postponing or just doing away with, I hate to say it that way, but having to do away with their camp schedule this summer. And so in some cases, the camps are making decisions that make it a little easier. And unfortunately, the reality is a little sadder for churches that they will not be able to do summer camps this summer. I am at the place right now where I'm already teaming up with and beginning to work with several churches, several youth minister friends of mine, and we're beginning to discuss virtual camp options for this summer. And so what that would mean is we obviously wouldn't go to a location, but we would have a virtual camp, would have hopefully a very exciting camp feel, although it would all be done by us doing some creative production and video editing, to have different bands, speakers, opportunities, activities that would all fall in line with this social distancing guideline. That being said, I hope you've listened to this point so far. I have talked with a bunch of my youth minister friends, and about half of them are already canceling their summer activities, and some are going ahead as planned. As it stands right now, we are planning and gearing up to do virtual camp options with 100% hope that our summer schedule will be able to be, as normal. And so I am waiting, and we're kind of in the limbo stage as far as what would be the options for our summer retreat, stay down at Blue Horizon, our Beach Summer Camp, what our mission opportunity might be, what Vacation Bible School is going to look like. And so we're still having to wait on both Governor Ivey here for the state of Alabama, and we're having to wait on the government in Florida to make some decisions that would kind of give some guidelines on what our summer activities and summer camps would look like. And so just stay tuned. We're working hard. I've already got some exciting things in the work. Been talking with a lot of friends. Spent a bunch of time planning this week, discussing what the summer would look like in case we were not able to do a normal schedule of going to camps. That's not what we want by any means, but that is reality right now. And so I got a text earlier, and our leadership in the church is waiting ourselves on Governor Ivey to make a decision, in the State Department of Health to make that decision on what it would look like for us to physically begin to meet again on campus, and what our social distancing guidelines and some of the recommendations. The state of Georgia is already beginning to send out emails and posts, and I see some of those for some of my friends in Georgia on how they're going to get things kicked back off with meeting as youth groups and churches again on campus. And so we're in that kind of state of just waiting to see what our government recommends, what we are told that we need to be doing. And so just be patient with us as we wait on those things. And so Disciple Now Week, unfortunately, is obviously not going to happen this coming weekend. We're already kicking down the idea of doing one as the back to school kickoff. And so that is, again, waiting to see where we stand and where do we land in terms of the coronavirus pandemic and how much is getting back to normal at that point in time. And so just be patient with us. I'll continue to keep you updated on those announcements. And then, of course, we talked about summer, Vacation Bible School. Our team is working hard right now, trying to figure out exactly how that's going to look and see where that would end up being if we are able to do it on campus or if we have to do it virtually. Kids camp for the summer is postponed until next year, and so they've already made that decision for us. And our July schedule, as far as teenagers, as far as the youth group, the stuff we have planned, that is still in limbo as we wait to see what the state of Florida says and kind of what the state of Alabama says in terms of what our social distancing, quarantine, stay-at-home order, all those things are looking like. And so hope this video finds you doing well. And this morning, that was our announcements, this evening, that was our announcements for, like we usually do before the youth group starts with our Bible study. And so now I want to encourage you to think about something with me for a few moments. Again, this is just a mini message. I'm going to be doing this regularly. I'm going to be doing this on our Wednesdays and Sunday time frame, and you might every so often get a devotion series as well. And so for Sunday night, April 26th, this is our message, our mini message, and it is this right here. I would encourage you to think about Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. We're familiar with verse 1 in the fact that it says that we're offer our bodies a living sacrifice. This is our act of worship. Verse 2 says that we're no longer to be conformed to this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. And so in the middle of this pandemic, I know as I've been studying and reading some of the statistics, the depression, or boredom, worry, substance abuse, particularly alcohol, pornography, some of these things that are just attacking our minds have been ramped up significantly. And so it had me thinking about this verse in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, that we're not to conform to the world any longer, but to be renewed by the transforming of our mind. And so I really want to ask you the question and begin to get you to think about this verse. What are you doing to really protect your mindset during this difficult time? Are you allowing things to come in, thoughts to creep into your mind? Are you running with those thoughts that take you to a place where you're conformed to the world? Are you taking a stand on the Bible and on what you've been taught as a Christian, or what you've heard in church about how there is a way that through Jesus Christ that we can have our hearts, our minds, our bodies, ourselves transformed and made into His image? Because we are, as a Christian, a new creation. The old self is gone. It's no longer there. The Scripture would say we've been crucified with Christ, and it's no longer the I that live, that Christ that lives within me. And so we have the ability as Christians, we have the ability as children of God to take a stand and say, I want my mind transformed into a place that honors you, God, and my mind transformed into a place that I no longer conform to the world. And so this evening, as you look at this video and you think about this, what are you doing to be sure that you're protecting your mind and having your mind transformed into more of the image of God that He would have and He would desire for you to be? Because we're no longer to be conformed to the world. That's a very strong statement there that Paul makes in the book of Romans in chapter 12, verse 2 there. But he also goes on to say that the way this can happen is no longer conforming to the world, but being transformed happens through the work of God. Okay? That our minds are transformed into thinking the way that He thinks. And so you cannot do this alone. I'm going to say that again. Having our minds transformed into non-worldly thinking is not something we can wake up today or wake up tomorrow or think about tonight as you watch this video and say, how am I going to do that? This is how I'm going to know, because Satan's going to attack. The world is still going to be there. And so this transforming of you into the person that the Christian, the child of God you're supposed to be, is an act and work of God. And so you cannot do this alone. So I encourage you to think about what have you been studying? What have you been reading? What music have you been listening to? What have you been doing during this quarantine to spiritually fill your heart, your mind, your thoughts, yourself with things of God? And so we think about Romans 12 too, but we skip down a few more verses as I close our mini message and announcement time today with this right here. I want you to think about this in closing. Romans chapter 12, verse 12 is a phenomenal verse. And I think it's so poignant and so perfect for this time that we find ourselves in. And it's this right here. It's three things that it tells us: that we're to be joyful in hope. And even in this difficult time, this change of pace, change of scenery, change of routine, that we can still have joy in the hope of God. And we are to be patient in affliction. I would say patient in difficulty, patient in our current situation. And last but not least, faithful in prayer. I think that's a wonderful verse for where we find ourselves right now, students. That in our quarantined, potentially bored, going a little stir-crazy self, with all of our routine changed, those three things in that verse are still true. That we can have joy in the hope of God. That we need to stay patient in affliction, and those who are patient and wait upon the Lord will have their strength renewed. And by all means, at all times, in this difficult time, and always, the Bible would say, to pray without ceasing, that we need to be faithful in prayer. And so tonight, as you think about these things, I would encourage you, are you finding your joy, or do you have joy, should I say, in the hope of the Lord? Are you staying patient, even in this time of affliction, this time of difficulty? And are you continue to pray, to seek, to lean in, to get your strength and your existence through God as you pray? And so, guys, we are to be transformed. Our minds are to be transformed and no longer conformed to this world. And I think if we have joy in the hope of God, we stay patient in affliction, and we're faithful in prayer, those are three very good starting points that we can find ourselves having our mind transformed into the likeness and image of God. Love you guys. Hope you watch this video, catch all those announcements. I'll keep you up to date. And this is our mini message for Sunday night, April 26th. Talk soon.